You think you can reverse it. You've done it for yourself. You've done it for clients as well. So how can this be done?
Yeah, so
The premier source of patient-centered information on PKD and how to reverse it. This is Felix Mueller.
hello everybody, this is Felix, your friendly neighborhood kidney hacker, coming back today with a special episode, which is a replay of my radio interview, but with video. So it was my radio interview with Talk Radio Europe, which is a Spanish radio station, which is in English language and broadcasts all over the world. They had me on for about 10 minutes to talk a little bit about the basics of PKD. So if you're new to this channel, this might be a good introduction. If you're not, then maybe some of this you already know. But if you want to listen in, then enjoy this video version of my radio interview with Talk Radio Europe.
Time for our final guest of the week now. Felix Mueller has written a unique guide to the strategies developed to reverse his own polycystic kidney disease, as well as that of numerous clients and followers. Well, thankfully, he's put it all into a book called Reversing Polycystic Kidney Disease. Welcome to the show, Felix.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So, first of all, what is polycystic kidney disease?
Yeah, so it's actually one of the most common genetic diseases in the world. It's about 12 million people worldwide that have it. And it's basically just cysts building up in the kidneys. A lot of times also in the liver and some other organs, but the kidneys are the main focus. And people usually lose most of their functions somewhere later in life, between the 40s and 80s, 70s. And that is usually the outcome that is expected.
And how old were you when you were diagnosed?
Yeah, so I was about 16 years old when all of my family found out that we have it. My grandma got diagnosed, and that was my dad and myself. So we all got the genetic test done.
So at the moment, with you being relatively young, are there no symptoms?
Yes, so that's not uncommon. So there's a lot of people who don't get symptoms basically right up until dialysis is necessary. Some people are different. Some people have symptoms, some don't. So my family tends to not have very much symptoms. So there's no pain in my case and in my dad's case. But there are a lot of people that have pain very early on as well.
Right. Okay. So in the introduction, we said that you think you can reverse it. You've done it for yourself. You've done it for clients as well. So how can this be done?
Yeah. So first and foremost, it's important to define what reversing really means. So people tend to confuse it with cure, right? So we can't say cure. And also, it's not cured, right? Because the gene is always there and we don't have an option to cure that yet. But what reversing means is that we're actually reversing the course of the disease. So instead of every year being a little bit worse than the year before, we are seeing some people, including myself and my clients, to be every year a little bit better than the year before. And we don't know how long this trend is going to continue, as this is still a bit of a young discovery that I made. And I've been on it for 10 years. And I am now at my best kidney function ever, which is, so you can think of it as sort of a thing that is usually starts in the low single digit numbers, and it goes up to about 100 for most people. And in my case, I went down to as low as 85, and now I'm at 134. So that's over 50 points increase, which is totally unheard of in this kind of condition. So the thing that I discovered was that when I, for totally unrelated reasons, changed my diet to what's called the bulletproof diet, which is sort of a very clean version of ketogenic type diet. So it's very low carbohydrate, which many people probably have heard of, so low carb diet. When I did that for other reasons, I found out by accident that my kidney volume had declined and my function had gone up. And since then, there's been a lot of research that I did, and there's also been some new research that was actually done in the ketogenic diet for PKD model rats, which has confirmed the same thing a couple years after I discovered and posted about it, which is that as soon as you give the body a second fuel, so the standard fuel being blood glucose or blood sugar, as soon as you also give it blood ketones, which is sort of the fat equivalent to the sugar, then you can think of it as the mutated cells in PKD. They can sort of decide if they want to have the glucose or the ketones or in some cases, they don't have a choice because just by chance they get a ketone to feed on. And then they have to sort of either die or switch back to healthy metabolism. Because the cool thing is, a ketone that is made from fat cannot be used to fuel this kind of unwanted growth. And that is very similar to what's actually discovered by Professor Thomas Seyfried in cancer, which is he also discovered that a tumor can only grow when it's fed glucose or another fuel, which is glutamine, that's made from protein, but that goes a little too far. But the gist of it is, as soon as we have ketones present, which are made from fat, which we get when we get on a very low carbohydrate diet, then the tumor, and in this case also the PKD kidney cyst, has a different fuel to feed on, which doesn't give it the option of having this growth that we don't want.
So it's low carb. Do you cut out meat as well?
I do not, actually. Cutting out meat is a very prominent and popular option in the nephrology world. So there's a lot of nephrologists that will still advise patients to cut out meat and to lower protein. However, there is a very sort of insidious thing that happens when you do that, which is the only protein that is really been shown in scientific studies to be able to increase kidney function by providing the necessary building blocks for the kidney itself is animal protein, which is totally contrary to what most nephrologists will tell you. But it is true. And that means if you limit your protein or if you reduce animal protein, then you forego the option of also building up the rest of what's left of the functioning kidney and to sort of enlarge the functioning units of the kidney to be able to process more uremic toxins. So the stuff that we have to process on a daily basis. So meat is actually, if it's in the right amounts, a central part of the bulletproof diet, which is the diet that I'm recommending to people.
Okay, so in the book, in the program, do you have some of these recipes that you share with people?
Oh yeah, for sure. But the basic template is always very, very simple because this is a long-term approach and it needs to work for even the busiest of people. So really the total baseline of everything is we have almost 3/4 of the plate being vegetables, so non-starchy vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, green beans, cabbage, a large salad, things like that. So 3/4 of the bulk of the plate should be vegetables like that with very low carbs. And then 1/4 of the plate sort of will be some kind of meat. So in the best case, it would be red meat, so like grass-fed beef, grass-fed lamb. Also, a lot of the times, red meat has been discredited by a lot of the medical establishment, but we're seeing that kind of meat is very clean and it's very bioavailable, and also gives us a lot of bioavailable iron, which is super important for kidney patients. So you have the vegetables, you have the meat component, and then you add some fat. So butter, MCT oil, which is also a very central part of the diet, which we can talk about as well. But it's basically an oil made from coconut oil that gives you more ketones. So it's the vegetable component, the meat component, which has to be calculated specifically to fit your necessary requirements. And then you add some fat to make it a lot higher caloric density than it would be otherwise.
It's interesting, isn't it, Felix? Because people used to say not so long ago that, or doctors used to say that, if you've got PKD, it can only go in one direction and that's downhill. Well, it doesn't appear to be like that anymore.
Yeah, that is a very, very different outlook on the world than when I embarked on this journey. And I really felt that because there are communities online, of course, all over the world that are built around this condition. And it was a hard journey to be able to tell this story, which I have, because in the beginning I was I didn't have my own group, which I do have now. I didn't do anything with this knowledge. I just posted about it on different groups, and it was not greeted with a lot of happiness on their part. So there was a lot of skepticism, and I was removed from a lot of groups because people just couldn't believe that it was even possible. Luckily, 3.5 years later, there was a first animal study that showed that the same principles that I stumbled upon actually do work even in animal models. But even some of the groups still to this day are not convinced that this is a good idea to do.
And if anybody listening either has or knows somebody with the disease, what is your group? Can they request to join it?
Yes, so it's an open group on Facebook, and the easiest way to find is either to just go on to reversingpkd.com and click on the link for community, which always will have, should we ever get censored on Facebook, it will have a different link there for another group on another platform. Or you could just enter on Facebook, you look for Healing Polycystic Kidney Disease Naturally, which is the name of our group.
Okay. Well, we always have to say that obviously anybody listening, always see your doctor before you give any of these things a try, but you can find out more information about the book, which is called Reversing Polycystic Kidney Disease, the PK Proof Program, a low-carb, high-nutrient approach to kidney health, and it's by Felix Mueller, who we're chatting to now. And you said it's just reversingpkd.com, your website.
Yes, that's the website. That's where I am.
Great stuff. Well, it's been great to chat to you, and I'm glad that that it's working for you, Felix.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
I am super happy that we can talk about this. Thank you.
Great stuff. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it, guys. That was my first radio interview, and I think it went quite well. What do you think? If you like this video, click the thumbs up button and subscribe to this channel. Or if you're on a podcast platform, then give us a 5-star review. That would be great. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one, and happy healing.